Hello everyone, as you would know that we are making a series of videos to help those who wants to sponsor their spouse or partner to Canada. We already have some videos on how you can start this whole process online and how you can submit the documents on this online portal. Well, in my last video, I have explained that how you can create this online account to sponsor a spouse. If you are new to this portal, then start a new application from here, or if you have already an existing application, then you just click on this View My PR Application button. Here, this is my test application which is in progress. I will click on this View button to open this application. And when you scroll down, you will see a list of forms based on your program or PR application. So basically we will start from these 4 digital forms which must be filled by the principal applicant, and then we will complete the sponsors PDF forms as well along with the use of representative form. Okay, so without wasting time, let's look into the first form, which is IMM 008 generic application form for Canada, and this form is mandatory for all the programs you are applying for. We'll just click on this start button. On the first page, there is some background or overview about this form. You have to fill out your language preference between English or French. You have to tell that how many members are there in this application, and you also have to declare some of your personal information like your date of birth, your name, your email ID, address, and so on. Also, you don't have to complete this form in just one sitting. You can save this all the details anytime and come back later as well. And once you complete this form, you can save all the pages as PDF for your reference, because once your application is submitted, you will not be able to see the details which you have entered in these online forms. Since it will also ask your personal document numbers like a passport number, national identity card numbers, and so on. So keep all these documents handy while completing this form. So now let's go to the next page and click on this continue button. On this page, we have to choose our language preferences here. I will make selections according to my choice, or I would say my wife's choice, because she was the principal applicant in this process. First selection is about the correspondence. That means in which language you want to receive all the communications or documents from IRCC. I will select English here. Same for the interview. If in case the interview is required during the process, then it should happen in English. So I will just select English for this one. And do you need any interpreter? I would say no. So the next page is about your personal details. Enter your full name here, same as your passport, and if you have only your first name or only the last name, then fill that in the family name section. So for my application, I will write Gupta as family name and Ayushi as given name, because she's my spouse and she was the principal applicant for this application. Have you ever used the other name in the past? I would say no. Do you have an UCI or unique client identifier number? So if you ever applied to any program in Canada like your visit visa, study permit, or your work permit, you would have the UCI number. Please fill that so that IRCC can check your previous applications and link the details. But this is your first time, then you can leave this space as blank. So my wife never applied to any application before, so for my application I am just leaving this as blank. Next, we have the physical characteristics. So I will select female, and I will select brown for eye color, and height I would say 160 centimeter. Then you have your date of birth. So I will just write like, let's say 1196/01/01, 1st of January 1996, and this is, I'm just making up this number. Place of birth, let's say Mumbai, and the country of birth, India. Then citizenship is India, and if you have citizenship from other countries, then you can just fill that here. Country of residence, your current country of residence, I would say India, and your status is citizen. Your previous country of residence, so I would say no, and if it is yes for you, then select yes and provide the name of the country. Marital status, it will be married, and then the date when you got marriage. So I can just make up some number, let's say 2022-01-01. and provide the name of your current spouse. So that would be me. I will just write my name and who is the sponsor of this application. And have you ever been married before? So we can say no for my application and click on save and continue. Next, we have the contact information. So it says that all the correspondence will go to this address unless you include your email address below. Including an email address will authorize all correspondence, including file and personal information, to be sent to the email address you specify. And if you wish to authorize to release the information in this application to a representative, indicate their name and email address in this section, as well as on the form IIM 5476, which is use of representative form. Your current mailing address. So here the applicant can fill the Canadian address where the sponsor is living. This is to receive any correspondence if you do not provide your email ID. So post box number, let's say NA, apartment NA, because I don't want to leave any space blank, so that's why I'm just writing NA. Street number, let's say 1111, street name ABC Drive, city, let's say Toronto, and then country Canada. Your province would be Ontario, and I'll just write some random postal code. Now the residential address, is it same as mailing address? No. So write the address where the applicant is living. Apartment number, let's say 100, street number 123, street name, just write street name. City, I would write Mumbai, and country I will select India. Postal code 400001, and district I will write Mumbai. So this is all random information and just change according to your application. Primary telephone number, so you can provide the principal applicant number here. So I would just select residence, country code India 91, and the number I can just write 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Yeah. And your alternate telephone number, so you can write your sponsor's telephone number here. So I'll just select the type, and country code is 1 for Canada, and I will just enter a random telephone number here. Fax number I can just leave it blank because I don't have anything for the fax. Do you want us to contact using the same address which you used for creating this account? No, because I will be writing the sponsor's email ID here, and who also will be acting as a representative for this application. Okay, so you can just enter your sponsor's email address here and click on save and continue. And then next we have the passport details to fill here. So do you have a valid passport or the travel document? Yes. And then you have to fill your passport number. So I can just write any random passport number. Issuing country, I will write India. Issue date, so you can again select your issue date which is mentioned in your passport. So just for just for sample, so I'm just writing 2nd of January 2020, and the expiry date would be 2030 January. Yeah, so you can just refer all this information from your passport. So fill the passport number, issuing country, your issue date, and expiry date. If everything is correct, then click on save and continue. So this page is about the national identity document. Do you have a national identity document? Yes. Then write your document number. So I will just enter a random number here. Your issuing country, I would say India. So if you are choosing Aadhaar card as your national identity document, you would have the issue date but not the expiry date. Now since both the dates are mandatory here, so you write the issue date same as you have in your ID, but for the expiry date choose a maximum date to indicate that your document does not expire. So issue date, I will just write a random 2021 1st of January 2020, and for the expiry date I would select the maximum year, maximum month and maximum date as my expiry date. So you also can mention this information in your letter of explanation that why you have chosen this expiry date. Once everything is done, click on save and continue. Now on this page you have to provide your education and occupation details. So for the education information, select the highest level of education. So I will select master's degree because my wife completed her master's from India. Number of years of education in total, I will write 18. So the way I have calculated this number is 12 years in school, 4 years of bachelor's degree and 2 years from the master's. The current occupation, she was the software engineer, so I will write the software engineer here, and her intended occupation would be also the software engineer when she comes to Canada. Click on save and continue. Next you have to provide your language details here. So the first option is your native language or your mother tongue. So I'll select Hindi. Are you able to communicate in English or French? So if you are comfortable with both languages, select both. Or for me, my wife, she was able to communicate in English, so that's why we selected English here. Have you taken a test from a designated testing agency to assess your English or French skill? I would say no, but if you have any valid scorecard from IELTS or French exam, you can provide that information here. Click on save and continue. And this last section is for the dependents. So if you have any dependents, then you must provide their details here, but in our case we don't have any dependents, so it was no for us. Then you have this complete and return to your application button. This will not submit your form and you can come back and change any information until you finally submit the full application. So for now I'll just click on this button, complete and return to application. So you can see that the application was saved successfully, and here you can also see that your form IIM 008 is ready to submit. Well, just to clarify again, all the details I have filled in this form are totally random and is not 100% true. I have provided all the random details like ID numbers and other personal information. The purpose of this video is only to guide you on how you can fill out this form without any confusion. But if you have any questions in this, please write in the comment section below and I will reply to you. This is second video of the series where I am filling all the forms which are required to sponsor your spouse or partner to Canada. This form is IIM 5406, Additional Family Information. So to understand that who all should be added in this form, please watch this video till the end. So let's get started. So on the first page, there is some background about this form. IRCC need all this information about your parents, children, spouse and siblings. Again, this form has to be filled by the principal applicant, so these family members are from the principal applicant side. And you can also complete this form in multiple sittings. You, the principal applicant, must fill out this form for yourself and on behalf of any of your family members 18 years of age or older who are not already Canadian citizens or permanent resident. Enter all name in English and in your native language. So we will also see that what is the best way to type your name in English and in your native language. And this point is also very important, that if a section does not apply to you, please write not applicable, do not leave it blank. Now we have to add the family members here. Since there were no dependents in our case, so it was just my wife's name. Click on this button, add new family member, and now the actual form starts from here. We have three sections here. Section is for the applicant itself, or if the applicant is filling this form on behalf of someone else. Section B is for children if there are any, and section C is for the sibling details. Okay, so let's get started with the section A. Indicate whether you are filling this form for yourself or on behalf of any of your family members. So I'll just click here because my wife, she was filling this form for herself because she was the principal applicant. But if you're filling this form for someone else, then click here. First point is about the relationship with the applicant. So this form is being filled by the applicant right now. So we will write applicant's detail here. So the full name is Ayushi Gupta. It's my wife's name here. And remember the instructions on the previous page that all names should also be written in their native language. So my wife's native language is Hindi. So we will write her name in Hindi as well. So basically there are many ways to write the names in other languages than English. I have done this using the Google Translator. I will just simply type a name here, Ayushi Gupta, and I will copy the text from here and go back to the application form, and I will just paste it here in the brackets. So this is how you will write the names in your native languages. We will do the same process for all the names which are required in the native languages. Now the date of birth, I will just write a sample date here, 1196-0101. Country of birth, I'll write India. Marital status, married and physically present, because IRCC doesn't accept the marriages done on the social media or in any other forms without being actually present. The email ID, so I will write pa@gmail.com, because this here you have to present the email ID from the principal applicant's account. Now the current full address of the principal applicant. So please include everything like your street name, your house number, unit number, postal code, everything. Because if you do not provide complete address, IRCC may return your full application for this reason. So we will write the full address for the principal applicant here. It's unit number 100, ABC Road, Mumbai 400001, Maharashtra, India. Just a sample address here. Next, you have to fill the details for your spouse, common law partner, or conjugal partner. So I'll write my details here. And remember, again, we have to write this name in the native language as well. So I'll just copy the name here, paste it here, copy from here, and I will have this name in my native language. Date of birth, a sample date of birth, let's say 1994-0101. Country of birth, India. Marital status, again married and physically present. And the email ID, so here I will write my email ID, so sponsor@gmail.com. And now we have to provide the current address for the sponsor. So I provided my Canadian address here. So let's say 1111 ABC Drive, Toronto, A1A 1A1, Canada, Ontario. Just a simple and random address. Also avoid writing any short words in your address like ON for Ontario, IND for India. And you also see that you can only provide address of a maximum 80 characters. But if your address is long, then write short address here as much as you can, but provide a full address in your letter of explanation for this section alone. We will see that in one of the next video. So similarly, you have to provide the details for your parents. This section is for your mother. So write full name. I'll just write mother's name here. Date of birth, sample date of birth, let's say 1980-0101. Country of birth, India. Marital status, married. And email ID, I will write mother@gmail.com. And if your mother doesn't have the email ID, so please create one for her and fill that email ID. The address, so this will be a full address for your mother, or just again a random and sample address. And we forgot one thing, we have to write mother's name as well in the native language. So what I'll do, I'll just have this copied, paste it here, copy from here, and then again just go back and paste it here. Now the next section is for father, so I'll just do the same which I did for mother. Father's name, date of birth, a simple date of birth 1978-0101, country of birth India, marital status married, father at gmail.com, and I will just give the same address which I gave for mother, and we have to write father's name in native language. So I'll just do the same process, just copy the name from the native language and paste it here, and so we are good with this page, and we can just click on the save and continue to move to the next section. Now we are on section B, where you need to provide information about your children. Include all sons and daughters, including all adopted and stepchildren, regardless of age or place of their residence. In our case, we don't have any child yet, so this section was not applicable for us. Instructions on the top says that if a section does not apply, write not applicable. So now let's fill this form accordingly. Child 1, relationship not applicable, full name not applicable, country of birth not applicable, email address not applicable. Here I'll write not applicable, but I'll just write NA, and I'll not select anything for the marital status. For the address, I'll write not applicable. So this is how I filled the form for the children section, and just click on save and continue. Now we are on the section 3 for the siblings. So on this page, include your half or step siblings as well. So my wife has a brother, she provided the information for him. Relationship, we'll write brother, full name, brother's name, and we will also write this name in native language. So we'll just copy from here and paste it. So do not forget this point. Date of birth, I can just write a sample date of birth 1998-0101, country of birth, I'll say India, marital status, he was single that time, so yeah, and email address brother at gmail.com. And I will give the same address which I provided for mother and father. So I'll just write the same address here, and do not forget to write complete address. If you have any other siblings, just add from here, and but in our case it was just one brother. Click on save and continue. So once you complete all 3 sections, you will come back to this first page of the form where you will see the name of the principal applicant, because this form was filled by the principal applicant. Now if you have more people to add to your application, then just click on this button, add new family member, and follow the same process which we just did for the principal applicant. But if it is just one principal applicant in your application like myself, then just scroll down and click on complete and return to the application button. So this will not submit your form. You can come back and change any information until you finally submit your full application. Just to clarify once again, all the details I have filled in this form are totally random and not 100% correct. I have provided all the random names, email IDs, date of birth, and other personal information. The purpose of this video was only to guide you on how you can fill out this form on your own. But if you have any questions in this, please write in the comment sections below and I will reply to you. This is the third video of the series where I am filling all the forms which are required to sponsor spouse or partner to Canada. So this form is IMM 5669 Schedule A Background and Declaration. So to understand that what information we need to provide in this form, please watch this video till the end. So let's get started. On the first page, there is some background about this form. IRCC need information about your education, your membership, your government positions held by you in the past or present, criminal history if any, military services, and your address history which goes back to last 10 years or after you turned 18 years of age. Again, this form has to be filled by the principal applicant, so all these information should belong to the principal applicant, not the sponsor. And you can complete this form in multiple settings. You must fill out this form for yourself and on behalf of any of your family members who are 18 years of age or older, who are not already Canadian citizens or permanent resident. And you also have to enter all the names in English and in your native language as well. I have already explained that how you can write all the names in your native language, so if you have not watched my previous video, please check out that as well, where I filled the form IMM 5406. Now we have to add the family member here. Since there were no dependents in our case, so it was only my wife's name here. We also have some declaration and consent regarding the details we are going to fill in this form. Just click on this add new family member button here, and now the actual form starts from here. We have 8 sections here. Section A is for the personal history of the applicant itself, or if the applicant is filling this form on behalf of someone else. Section B had some questionnaires regarding your criminal history, medical history, your past visa status, and so on. Section C is for your educational history. Section D is for your personal history. Section E is for your memberships and your associations with any organizations. Section F is for any of your government positions. Section G is for your military and paramilitary services. And then you have Section H is for your address history. I know it's a quite long form, but it's very easy too. So let's get started with the Section A. We have the same instructions on the top, and then indicate whether you are filling out this form for yourself, the principal applicant, yes. But if you are filling out this form on behalf of someone else, click here. Now this form is being filled by the principal applicant right now, so we will write the principal applicant's detail here. Family name Gupta, given name Ayushi, and then we have a separate section to write the name in native language. So I will just copy the name from here and paste it here. Then we have date of birth. I'll just write a simple date of birth. And then we have to provide the personal detail of your father. So I'll write family name Gupta, given name, let's say Mohan Kumar. And we have to write this name as well in native language. So I'll just copy this text from here, paste it here, copy this, have this in bracket, and then I'll do the same for given name. I'll just copy the name here and paste it here, copy from here and paste it here. Date of birth, let's say 1978-0101. I'll write NA here because I do not want to leave anything blank. Town and city of birth, Mumbai, India. And we will again say fill the same information for mother. So last name Gupta, given name, let's say Rita, date of birth 1980-0101. I'll write NA, town of birth Mumbai, India, and I will write this name in native language. So I'll just do the same process, and I'll just copy this as well, and I will write this in brackets. So now the section A is completed and we will move on to the next section. Just click on save and continue. Section B is for your questionnaire, mostly about the criminal history. So have you ever been convicted of a crime or offense in Canada? No. Been convicted in any other country or territory? No. Made previous claims for refugee protections in Canada? No. Been refused refugee status, an immigrant or permanent visa status? No. Or a temporary visa status? No. Been refused admission to or order to leave Canada or any other country? No. Been involved in act of genocides, in war crime, in or in any commission of a crime against humanity? No. used, planned, or advocated the use of armed struggles or violence? No. Use of armed struggle? No. Part of criminal activity? No. Have you ever put in jail? No. Any disease or physical mental disorder? No. And if you have said yes for any of the above, please mention the full explanation here. But in my case, everything was no, so I will just write NA. And we are done with the section B. Click on Save and Continue button. Now section C is for your education. I mean the education of the principal applicant. You have to fill the number of years completed for all stages of education. So the number of years could vary based on your country, your province, or your school board. So for you, this may not be same as mine, but I will just fill what I filled in my application so that you will get an idea. So elementary or primary school, 5 years from 1st standard to 5th standard. Then secondary or high school, 7 years, which is from 6th standard to 12th standard. Then university or college, it's for 4 years, the bachelor degree, and we had the post graduation, so it was 2 years for the masters. And now you have to fill the details of your education background. So I have the education background here for my wife. This way it was easy for us to fill the information in the form. You need to provide the time frame for your education, the name of institute, city and country, type of certificate, field of study, and the number of years completed for each kind of your education. I started from the latest to oldest. All these details are a sample data, not exactly what we filled in the form, but the format was same. So we started from masters. So from August 2018 to July 2020, my wife did the masters, and here you can write the name of your institute, the city and country, the type of certificate. So in our case, it was MTech in CE and IS. The field of study is CE and IS. The second entry was for the bachelor education. So from August 2014 to July 2018, my wife did the bachelor's from University of Bachelors. You can write the name of your institute, then city and country, the type of the certificate. So it was BTech in CS, and the field of study was computer science. And then we have 7 years of senior schooling details, which started from May 2007 to June 2014. Name of the school, city and country, the type of certificate, it was senior school, and field of study, we wrote it as science. Then 5 years of your primary education. So it started from May 2002 to April 2007. Name of the school, city and country, the type will be primary school, and the field of study we filled as general. So I will fill all that detail in the form now. So education 1, which is masters, so it started from 2018-08 to 2020-07. Name of the institute, you can write University of Masters. City and country, let's say Delhi, India. Type of certificate or diploma, it's MTech in CE and IS. Field of study, CE and IS. This is how we filled the form. And so this is education 1. We can just add the another education from here and do the same process which we just did. So now I have filled all the remaining educations here, and once you are done filling all the details here, click on Save and Continue to move on to the next section. So this section D is for the personal history of the principal applicant, and make sure that year and month information you are providing here should match with your education section as well from the previous page. So it says that provide the details of your personal history for the past 10 years or since your 18th birthday if it was less than 10 years ago. Start with the most recent information. Under activity, write your occupation or job title if you were working. And if you were not working, provide information on what you were doing. For example, unemployed, studying, traveling, retired, or in detention. And if you were outside of the country of your residency, indicate your status in the country or territory you were in. And this is the important note that please ensure you do not leave any gaps in time. Failure to account all the time periods will result in a delay in the processing of your application. I drafted all the information into the Excel first so that I don't make any mistakes and I don't miss any time period. So I'm starting with the most recent information. The first entry I have here is for my wife's job, where she was working from July 2020 and she was the software engineer there. I provided the city and country, status in that country, and name of the company as well. Then second point I have is for her master's. She was studying in the city and country, and then name of the institute. Before that, she was at home for 1 month waiting to start for her post graduation. So I added that time frame as well and mentioned that she was unemployed during that time, and name of the company is not applicable. And then 4 years for a bachelor's, and before that 2 months at home when she was waiting to join the college. And before that, I provided her schooling details as well, because we have to provide the last 10 years of details. Just double check that you don't miss any time period. Hope this is clear, and now I will fill this information into the form. So I have filled all the information in section D, and once you are done, you can just click on save and continue to move on to the next section. Now we are on the section E, membership and association with the organizations. So if you have anything to fill here, please do so, otherwise write none as instructed. So I will write none for all in this section. I'll just write none, 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 and none. Yeah, so this is all I have to fill on this page, and once you are done, just click on the save and continue to move on to the next section. Now we are on the section F, government positions. So if you held any government positions, then please provide complete details, but for us it was completely not applicable, so we provided none for everything. And once you are done, just click on save and continue to move on to the next section. Again, same for section G, military and paramilitary services. If it applies to you, then please provide complete details, but again for us it was not applicable, so I will write none. So I have write none for all the boxes, and I will just click on save and continue to move on to the next section. Now we are on the last section, section H, address history. So remember, you provided your education and personal history in previous sections. So your address history must also be in sync with those time periods to avoid any confusion to IRCC. List all addresses where you have lived in the past 10 years or since your 18th birthday if it was less than 10 years ago, and do not use PO box addresses. So this was the last 10 years of address history for my wife, and I do not have any gaps in between. I will just explain that how we did this. From 2012 to 2018, she was at home for her school and 4 years of college. Then she moved to another city for her master's. Then she started a new job at new address, and then she came back to home because her work was fully remote. Then we got married and she had to change the address again. So that way we do not have any time gap in between in this information. Also provide full address with unit number, street number, postal code, write full names, and do not write abbreviations like IND for India. And if you're going on a short vacation, then please don't worry about that address. But if you have been to a place for quite some time for some purpose, then and this address also matches with your education and personal details, then provide that address. So the main thing is that all your 3 sections must be in sync. So I have filled all the address history here, but if you are not able to provide your complete address or any name due to the character limits, then please write that in letter of explanation and provide full information there. We will see that in one of the next video. And once you are done, click on save and continue. And now you are back on the first page of this form. So you have completed all the details for the principal applicant. Now if you have any dependents in this application, so add them from here and follow the same process again. Now if you scroll down, there is some declaration by the applicant, and it requires your digital signature. So to sign, just enter your full name, same as your passport. And once you're done, just click on complete and return to the application. This will not submit your form, and you can come back and change any information until you finally submit your application. So just to clarify once again, all the details I have filled in this form are totally random and is not 100% accurate. I have provided all the random dates, names, and other personal informations. So the purpose of the video is only to guide you on how you can fill out this form on your own, but if you have any questions in this, please write in the comment sections below and I will reply to you. This is the fourth video of the series where I am filling all the forms which are required to sponsor a spouse or partner to Canada. So this is the form IMM 5562, supplementary information about your travels. So this is one of the country specific form. Since my wife is from India, so we had to complete this form as well for our application. There has been a lot of confusion among people that whose travel details should be added in this form. Should you fill the travel details of the principal applicant alone or even for the sponsor? And should you also mention your travel details between India to Canada or Canada to India? So please watch this video to know that how did we fill out this form after a lot of discussion with many people and we did not face any issue with our application. So let's get started. The first page has some instruction on what you should do to fill out this form. The principal applicant must complete this form. We already know that. This includes your spouse, common law partner and each dependent child over the age of 18, whether they are accompanying you to Canada or not. You will need to enter a history of all the trips you and your family members have taken outside your home country or the country you live in. So this is sometimes confusing and people think that you need not to enter your trips taken between your home country and Canada because IRCC already has that information. But we decided that we will be filling all our international trips to avoid any issues with our application. There is no harm providing extra information, especially when there is a risk of your file being returned by IRCC saying that something is incomplete. Include your trips for last 10 years or since your 18th birthday. And include all trips including those for tourism, business, training and any other reason. You must fill out this form for yourself and on behalf of your dependents. Write name in native language and if something does not apply to you, write not applicable, do not leave blank. So click on this button to continue to start the form. So we have three sections in this form. Section A is for the principal applicant, section B is for the spouse or common law partner, and section C is for your dependent children 18 years of age or older. So this is section A for the principal applicant, family name Gupta and given name Ayushi, and I also need to fill out these names in native language. So I'll just copy the native language name and I will paste it here. I will do the same for given name. So this is how I will write my names in native language. We have some instructions here that if a section does not apply to you, then write not applicable. Please do not leave blank. And if you need to add more than 200 trips, you can add those separately in a supporting document. So you can add up to 200 trips on this page. Actually, my wife did not travel outside India before, so none of this was applicable for us. So we clicked on this box, did not travel. From and to will be NA. And destination not applicable, length not applicable, and purpose of travel not applicable. So this was our case, but if you have anything fit to fill out, then please fill this information, and if you have to add more trips, then you can add from here. Click on save and continue to go to the next section. Section B is for the travel details of your spouse or common law partner. So here I will fill my travel details. My first international trip was when I came to Canada to become a PR. So I will write those dates. So let's say year 2020 03. From and to would be 2021 and 04, because I stayed in Canada for these many months in a stretch, and these are just random dates. The length I would say 13 months, and destination would be Mississauga, because I landed at Pearson Airport in Toronto and I live here in GTA. Purpose of travel: to become Canadian PR. So this was my trip 1. I will add another trip 2. So this is when I was going back from Canada to India. So from 2021-04 to 2021-07, some random dates, and the length 3 months. Destination I will write Pune, India, and purpose of the travel is to get married. This was trip 2, and I will add trip 3. So when I was coming back to Canada, there were no direct flights due to COVID, and I had to stay in Albania for 1 day, and I did the immigration and my passport was also stamped at the airport. So I filled that information as well in this form. So for trip 3, 2021-07 and 2021-07. So it was just 1 day, and destination Tirana in Albania, and purpose I would write tourism, returning to Canada. So this was my trip 3. I hope you would have got some idea on how to fill the travel details now. Click on save and continue. And this is the section 3 for the dependent children 18 years of age or older. So there were no children or dependent in our case, so I clicked on this box, did not travel. But if you have any dependent or children, please fill out this information same as we did in the section 2. Now just click on this complete and return to your application button. This will not submit your form, and you can come back and change any information until you finally submit the full application. Just to clarify once again, all the details I have filled in this form are totally random and is not 100% correct. I have provided all the random travel dates and other personal information. The purpose of this video is only to guide you on how you can fill out this form on your own. But if you have any questions in this, please write in the comment sections below and I will reply to you. This is the 5th video of the series where I am filling all the forms which are required to sponsor a spouse or partner to Canada. We have already filled all the digital forms which were required to be filled by the principal applicant. Now we will be filling the PDF forms which are required to be filled by the sponsor. These PDF forms may require your validation, digital signatures, and so on. So if you have already watched my previous videos, then you would know that why I am only seeing these specific forms in my application portal. But if you don't know, then this is based on the details I have provided while creating this online account. So let's get started with our first PDF forms, which is IMM 1344 application to sponsor sponsorship agreement and undertaking. It's always better to download your PDF form from here, and you can complete all the details, all the required steps, and then you can just upload it back here. I will also explain how we can sign this form digitally. So I have already downloaded this form from the portal, and it requires the Adobe PDF Reader to open the form. It's a 7-page form, and the form name is application to sponsor sponsorship agreement and undertaking. So this form is basically about filling some of the basic details of the sponsor and signing the sponsorship agreement and undertaking documents. So I think I have given you the enough background about this form, and now we will start filling this form. Part 1 is application to sponsor and undertaking. So the first point is that if you found ineligible to sponsor your spouse, then indicate what you want to do. So I'll just click here on proceed with the application for permanent resident, and processing fees will be retained. But if you want to withdraw your application, then in that case click here, and IRCC will deduct $75 and refund your full processing fees. Second point is for the language preference for the correspondence. I will select English. Then is there a co-signer on your application? I'll say no, because as per the complete guide, you can't have a co-signer if you are sponsoring a spouse, common law partner, or conjugal partner. Now the fourth point is the person you are sponsoring. So it will be your it will be your spouse, that is the principal applicant. So I'll just write my wife's detail here, so the last name and first name. Then on the 5th point, you have to write their date of birth. I'll just write a random date of birth. The sixth point is the principal applicant is yours, so I'll select spouse living outside Canada because this is the outland application and you can just choose the option based on your application type. So now we have to fill sponsor's personal detail, that will be my details here. So full name, the last name will be Gupta, and then give a name Arpit. Have you ever used any other name in the past? I'll say no, but if yes, then you can just provide your previous name. Gender, I'll select male. Date of birth, I'll just write a random date of birth. Place of birth, I'll say Pune, and country of birth, I'll write India. Yeah. Status in Canada, so I am a permanent resident here. On which date you became the permanent resident, so I'll just provide a random date here, let's say 2020-01-01, and your UCI number or client ID. You can find this information on your COPR letter or on your IRCC profile or even at the back side of a PR card. So I'll just write a random UCI number here. Full name at the time you become the permanent resident. So I never changed my name, so it was same as my current full name. Your marital status, married, and on which date you were married or entered into the common law relationship. So I'll just write a random date here again. Provide the name of your current spouse or common law partner, so I will write my wife's name here. Have you previously been married or in common law relationship? No. But if yes, then provide the required information. Now we are on the sponsor contact information. The first point is current mailing address. So all the correspondence will go to this address unless you indicate your email address below. So a sponsor should provide their email address so that you will be notified for any correspondence through email by IRCC. Indicate an email address will authorize all correspondence including file and personal information to be sent to the email address you specify. And if you wish to authorize the release of information from your application to a representative, indicate their email and mailing address in this section on IMM 5476 form. So if you are choosing a representative, you must fill out this form IMM 5476, and even if you don't have any representative in your application, the sponsor act as a representative and you still need to fill out this form IMM 5476, which we will be seeing in one of the upcoming videos. Okay, so now we have to fill the contact information. The first point is PO box number. So I would suggest leave it blank for now, because if you write something here, let's say NA, and when you go to the next option, residential address, and say that your residential address is same as mailing address, it will not accept because the residential address cannot have a PO box number. So leave it blank for now, and I'll show you in the end what I did for this. And apartment and unit, I'll write NA, but if you have unit number you can just provide that. Street number, I'll write 1234. Street name, ABC Drive, and a complete random address. City, I'll say Toronto. Country, Canada. Province, Ontario. And postal code, I'll just write a random postal code A1A1A1. I hope it accepts. Yeah. Residential address, same as your mailing address, yes, but if not, then you can just fill out this information again. Telephone number, so here you will provide your primary telephone number. So I'll select Canada, US. Cellular, I'll just write a random telephone number. For the alternate telephone number, I provided my Indian phone number, so I'll select other. Cellular number, cellular. Country code for India is 91, and I'll just write a random telephone number here. Fax number, you can leave it blank for now. I will come back to this point in the end. And then email address, sponsor@gmail.com. So you have to provide the sponsor's email ID here. Now you have sponsor residency declaration. So are you a Canadian citizen living exclusively outside Canada? So if you are a Canadian citizen living outside of Canada, say yes, and also declare where you intend to live once your spouse or partner become the permanent resident. I'm a PR here, so I'll just click on no. So now you have sponsor eligibility assessment. There are some set of questions you need to answer yes or no for these. And if you answer no for any questions between 1 to 4, you are not eligible to be a sponsor and you should not submit your application. So let's see what are these questions. The first question is, are you 18 years of age older? Yes. Are you a Canadian citizen or permanent resident? Yes. Are you sponsoring a member of family class or Canada class? Yes. It's a outland application and it comes under the family class. Do you reside in Canada and in no other country? Yes. And okay, so now if you answer yes to question number 5, you are sponsoring a spouse, you are not eligible to be a sponsor and you should not submit your application. So the fifth point is that in the last 5 years preceding to this application, did you become the permanent resident after being sponsored by yourself as a spouse, common law partner or conjugal partner? I'll say no, but if yes, then you are not allowed to be a sponsor. Okay, now, so if you answer yes to any questions from 6 to 15, you may not be eligible to be a sponsor. Please refer to the guide for the instruction before completing these questions. So the sixth question is, have you submitted a previous application in respect of which a final decision has not been made for the person being sponsored? I'll say no. Are you in receipt of social assistance for any reason or other than disability? No. Are you an undischarged bankrupt under the Bankruptcy and Insolvency Act? No. Have persons you previously sponsored or their family members received social assistance? No. Did you co-sign an undertaking where the sponsored person or his or her family member received social assistance? No. Have you been ordered to leave Canada? No. Are you late in making any required payment? No. Are you currently detained in jail, prison? No. Have you been convicted of sexual offense or serious violence offense? No. Are you in default of a court order? No. Now, if you answer question 16 to 18 is yes, then see your guide for circumstances under which processing may be suspended. So the 16th question is, are you subjected of an application to revoke your Canadian citizenship? No. Are you the subject of report on inadmissibility? No. Have you been charged with an offense? No. But if you have answered yes for any questions for 13th, 16th, 17th or 18th, please provide the details here. Now you have points for undertaking, so it's up to you if you want to read them. I'm just going to skip. You have the validate button here, but we need to sign this document before the validation. Then we have some more agreement points, obligations and declaration. Now here you have the space for the digital signature. So it's very easy and straightforward. You just have to type your name. So it says that I agree that by typing my name, I am electronically signing my application. So here the sponsor has to write their name and enter the date on which you are signing the document. So I'll just write today's date. Signature for co-signer, you can leave it blank because you don't have any co-signer for this application. And now here you have the space to sign for the principal applicant. Ideally one person can do this, but if you want, you can save this form and email it over to your spouse and ask them to sign it and send it back. But the general process is you just have to write the spouse name and then the date of the signature when they are signing this form. Once everything is filled, you have to click on this validate button and it will give you a message that validation completed successfully. But if you get some other message which means that you have not filled this form completely, and so you need to just check those information which are missing. Click OK. Once you click on OK, you will see that at the end the validation, the barcode has been generated, and at the bottom you will see a number associated with this code. So every time you validate the form, this number will change, and make sure this number is same in all the pages of this form. So now we have almost filled this form, but now I will do one more thing. I will save this secured form as a simple PDF. So just click on this print icon, and you'll get option to save this file as a PDF. Click on print, and here you can just write the form name IMM1344E and save it as a simple PDF. Now I will open this file again. So this is your simple PDF form which you need to upload, but scroll down a little bit, and remember we left blank in the PO box number and fax number. So I will click on this pen icon and click on this add text button, and I will write NA here because I don't want to leave anything blank. I'll do the same thing for the fax. I'll write NA, and at the bottom for cosigner I will type NA here as well because I don't want to leave any space blank. Yeah, so we are done. You can just come back and save this form again. Now come back to your online application portal and upload the form from here. And before uploading, make sure that all the details which you have filled in this form is correct, because if anything is wrong, IRCC will return your application. So just click on this form and click on OK, and it will upload your form here. And you can see the message that your document was successfully uploaded. As you already know that all the details I have filled in this form are totally random, and the purpose of the video is only to guide you on how you can fill out this form on your own. But if you have any questions in this, please write it in the comment section, and I will reply to you. This is the 6th video of the series where I am filling all the forms which are required to sponsor a spouse or partner to Canada. So I have logged into my online IRCC portal, and if you are new, then please watch my previous videos to understand that how to create this online account and what are the forms you need to fill for your application. So let's get started with the next form, which is IMM 5532 Relationship Information and Sponsorship Evaluation Form, and you can download this form from the link given here, and it will open in the Adobe PDF Reader software. So I have already downloaded this file. It's an 8-page form, and the form name is Relationship Information and Sponsorship Evaluation. So this form basically requires some of the basic information about the sponsor and the principal applicant. So this form has 3 parts: Part A, Part B, and Part C. Part A has to be filled by the sponsor, Part B has to be filled by the principal applicant, and Part C will be filled by both sponsor and the principal applicant. I think it is the enough background, and now we will start filling this form. And if you think that in any questions you need to provide more information but you don't have the space here, you can always include a separate letter, mention the form name and mention your part A, B or C, and then write the question and answer of that question. Okay, so personal information about the sponsor, that's me. So I'll write my name, Gupta and Arpit, and I will write my date of birth. So I'll just say simple date of birth, and client ID. So this is your UCI ID. So I'll just say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. You can find your UCI ID in your IRCC online portal or in your COPR letter or even at the back side of your PR card. Now the personal information about the spouse or partner being sponsored, that is the principal applicant. So I'll write my wife's detail here and a sample date of birth, and for UCI ID. So if the principal applicant had any IRCC application before, whether it is visitor visa application or study visa or work permit, then they would already have their client ID. But my wife did not have any IRCC application prior to this, so I wrote NA for my application. Okay, so now we are on part A, sponsorship evaluation and information about the sponsor, and this has to be filled by the sponsor. The first point is about the sponsor's employment history. Starting with your current employer if applicable, give details of your all employers you have worked for over the last 5 years and make sure there are no gaps. If you were unemployed, explain how you supported yourself. And if you were self-employed, write the name of your business and the date when it was established. And use the gross amount before tax for your monthly salary or income. That is for this last column. So now let's fill this table. All the data will be random data, but the format will be same which I used to fill my original application. So this is how I filled my employment history, starting from the most recent one from and to dates, and then your employment details like your employment name, complete address, telephone number. This information you can easily find in your offer letter or your pay slips. Then you have the occupation or your position at that company, and then at last you have your monthly gross salary, that is before taxes. So this is how I have provided my employment history starting from 2020 to go back to till 2015. Then I have my previous employment detail from this date to this date, and the company name, the address, your city, your province, country, and phone number, position, and your monthly gross. And before that I was in India, so this is how I provided my previous employment history from India in row 3 and row 4. So this is the format you can follow to fill your employment history. I hope that this table is now clear. So now let's move on to the next point, which is other sponsorships. So have you sponsored someone else in the past? So I'll say no because it was my first application as a sponsorship. So I'll select no, but if yes, then you have to provide the name of your family members, which whoever you have sponsored in the past. But this section was not applicable for me, and I definitely do not want to leave anything blank. So I'll write NA for all the sections here in just one row. Yeah. Now move on to the next question, which is other financially dependent people. So give details of any other person who is financially dependent on you. So in my case there was no one, so again I don't want to leave anything blank, so I'll just write NA. Yeah. The fourth question is about the level of education of the sponsor. So I have done my postgraduate studies and number of years would be 18 here. So this is how we have calculated in India, but if you are from different countries this number may vary. Now the fifth question is about the address history. So here you have to give your last 5 years of address history without any gaps. So we have already given the address history of the principal applicant in one of the previous forms, and here we will provide the address history for the spouse. So this is how I provided my address history. This is completely random data, but the format was same, starting from the most recent one to go back to 5 years. And you can also see that there are no gaps in those 5 years, starting from January 15 to January 18, then January 18 to July 19, July 19 to January 20, and then January 20 to your present date. So make sure you don't have any gaps in your address history. In case if you are not able to fill your complete address history in these 5 rows and you need more space, then you can fill that in a separate document and mention the form name, number, part number, and you can say that it is question number 5 address history, and write down your complete address there. Next question is about your residence in Canada. This is for spouse. So do you live in Canada? Yes, because I was in Canada when I was submitting this application. But if no, then you have to click here and answer to these questions. Since it was yes for me, so I'll just write NA. When did you last leave Canada? It was not applicable. When do you plan to return to Canada? NA. And where do you plan to live when you return to Canada? So I have filled NA for all these three questions. Now the seventh question is about your previous relationship. Have you ever been married or in common law relationship with any other person? I'll say no. But if it is yes, then click yes and provide all these details. But for me, nothing is applicable, so I'll write NA. This is how you should write NA for all the sections which is not applicable in your case, because you don't want to leave anything blank in your forms. Okay. Now the next point is about the consent. So if there is any investigation into marriage fraud about you, do you consent to IRCC and Canada Border Service Agency to release the result to a spouse or partner? I'll say yes. Now next you have the declaration, and sponsor has to sign this form digitally here. Since you cannot type your name in this section, so you have to save this secure PDF as a simple PDF. That we will see in the end, but for now you can just write the date, that is the date when you are signing this form. So we will sign this form digitally in the end. Now let's move on to the part B, and this part has to be filled by the principal applicant. So the first question here we have is, before this relationship, was your sponsor related to you in any way? That is, your sponsor was related to a member of your family, or your sponsor's family member was related to you or a member of a family. But in our case, we were not related, so I'll say no. But if it is yes for you, then click yes and provide the details in the below table. For me, it is no, and I'll write NA for all the sections here. Okay, so next move on to the second question. Do you have any relatives, including aunts, uncles, cousins living in Canada? For us, no. So I'll say NA because none of these relatives were in Canada for us. I'll just write NA for all these sections. Now the third question is, have you ever been married or in a common law relationship with another person? So this is for the principal applicant. I'll say no, but if it is yes, then you have to provide these details. I'll just fill NA for all these sections. Now the fourth point is consent to disclose. So it is same as we have in the sponsor section. I'll just say yes. And then we have the declaration. So here the principal applicant has to sign digitally. We cannot type anything here, so we will save it as a PDF and then do the digital signature that we'll see in the end. And here we will fill the date for on which we are signing this form. So now we are on part C, and this part C has to be filled by both the sponsor and the principal applicant. So this part is based on your own relationship story. So I'll just give you some ideas on how we filled this information for ourselves. So the first question is, when was the first time you met in person? So here you have to fill the date when you both guys met in person. I'll just write the date for myself. It's a like simple date, so you have to write date and you have to write the place where you met in person for the first time. So I'll just write any city name. Next we have is that describe the circumstances of your first meeting. So here you can write how you guys met, what you did, who visited whom, who else were there, and what you both were doing at that time. So just write something based on your own relationship story. Did anyone introduce you? For me, yes, it was our parents who introduced us. Now the next question is, did you have any contact before you met in person? So obviously yes. And if yes, then you have to write the details here, like who initiated the first contact, date of first contact, was it by phone, letter, email, social media, and so on. So here you can describe the details of your first contact in your own words based on your own relationship story. If you don't exactly remember all the details, write as much as you know, and do not make any false story which may contradict to any of your previous details. Now the next question is, are you guys living together? So I'll say no, because I was in Canada and my wife, she was in India, and this was an outland application, so we were not living together at the time when I was submitting this application. And if yes, then you have to give the explanation on this section, but I'll just write NA because this is not applicable for me. And if no, then why not? I'll just write an example for you, that Arpit and Ayushi got married on this date and lived together at their home in India for these many months. Arpit traveled back to Canada on this date, and now Arpit is living alone in Toronto, and while Ayushi is currently living in India. So this is just an example. You have to write your own story in your own words. Now the fourth question is, if you guys are not living together, have you visited each other during your relationship? So the way I interpreted this is that after getting married. So yes, after getting married, I did not visit India and she did not come to Canada. So I'll say no. And here I will provide my explanation. So this is my explanation. Arpit and Ayushi lived together for these many months after their marriage on this date, and Arpit traveled back to Canada on this date as he has to return to his office in Toronto and also had to submit Ayushi's PR sponsorship application as soon as possible. Since they just got married on this date and Arpit returned to Canada on this date, they did not get time to visit each other so far. So this is how I provided my excuse that why I did not visit my wife during the relationship. But it's up to you what you want to write based on your story, based on your situations. But if yes, if you guys visited each other during your relationship, then provide the details here in this table. But I'll just write NA because it is not applicable for me. So the fifth question is, what language do you use when communicating with each other? So I'll write English and I'll write Hindi. So these were two languages we were using when we were communicating to each other. The sixth question is, how often do you communicate when you are not together and how? So I'll say that every day on WhatsApp chat, WhatsApp audio, video calls, emails. So you can write how you guys were communicating when you were not together. Now the seventh question is, do your close friends, family and children know about your relationship? I'll say yes because it was a public relationship. If not, then you have to explain, but I'll just write any here, and if yes, then you have to fill this table. So this is how I filled this table. The name of the person, and are they related to sponsor or the principal applicant, relationship to sponsor or the principal applicant, and the date when they met sponsor or the principal applicant. So here I have provided some names, my father name, cousin name, friend's name, and then my wife's father name and her friend's name. Then we have the relationship with the sponsor or the principal applicant and the date since they know us. Like for father, it will be my date of birth, and for my wife's father, it will be her date of birth. Now the next question is, if you are married, then was your marriage arranged? For me, yes, it was arranged. And if yes, for you as well, then just describe it in your own words. And if no, then just move on to the next question. Were there any formal ceremonies or events for your relationship? I'll say yes, but if no, then you have to write the explanation here why not. But I'll just write any. If yes, then fill this table. So here I have filled some random information about the dates, the event, location, number of guests, and who performed this ceremony. Next we have that, did any of the following people go to your events? So let's see. Principal applicant's parent, yes. Children, no. Principal applicants, other family member and relatives, yes. Spouse, sponsors parent, yes. Sponsors children, no. And sponsors other family member, yes. But if any of the people listed above did not participate, then explain why. So I'll just say that neither the principal applicant nor the sponsor has any children yet. The next question is, are either of you pregnant? No. And here I'll just say any. So the next question is there more information you wish to share to support your relationship? So if you think that you want to provide any extra detail about your relationship which you have not provided in any of the questions so far, then you have the space here. So even though I felt that I provided most of the required information, but here I provided some extra details on how our marriage was arranged, what were the circumstances. I was in Canada and she was in India, how we managed to talk to each other, and when we said yes for this marriage. It's always helpful to provide, some extra details about your relationship so that IRCC know that your relationship is genuine. But it's an optional, and if you don't want to give any extra information to support your relationship, then just write NA in this section. On the next page, you have the declaration from both the sides, from the sponsor and the applicant. So you have to digitally sign it. You cannot type anything here, so I'll just fill the dates here for now. And interpreter is not applicable in our case, so I'll just write NA wherever I can. Okay, so now I have only the signature left. So for signature, I will just save this PDF as a this secured PDF as a simple PDF, and there I can just sign it. So I saved that secured PDF into a simple PDF, and I'll just go to the signature section. So on this page, the sponsor has to sign it. So I'll just click on edit board and type sponsor's name. Then go to the principal applicant section. And in the end, you have to sign for both sponsor and the principal applicant. And here you can just write NA because there is no interpreter. Make sure that you have filled all the required information in this form and nothing is left. And once you are sure that everything is filled, save this PDF form again and upload it back to your IRCC online portal. So right now I am uploading the form which we just filled. Now the form has been uploaded successfully. So yeah, you are done. You have completed the form IMM 5532. So yeah, as you already know that all the details I have filled in this form are totally random, and purpose of the video is only to guide you on how you can fill out this form on your own. But if you have any questions in this, please write in the comment section below and I will reply to you. This is the 7th video of the series where I am filling all the forms which are required to sponsor a spouse or partner to Canada. So I have already logged into my IRCC online portal, and if you are new, then please watch my previous videos to understand how to create this online account and what are the forms you need to fill out for your application. In this video, we'll talk about the use of representative form. Many people think that if they are not hiring any representative for their PR application, then they don't need to fill out this form, but that's not true. If you're not hiring any representative in your application, then the sponsor should act as a representative and fills the detail accordingly. Actually, you don't see any form for the representative here, so you need to add that form from here. Just type the representative word and you will see that you will get option to add the form for use of representative. And you can see the form here and just download the form using this link. So I have opened the use of representative form in the Adobe PDF Reader. You don't need to hire a representative, it's your choice. And a representative is someone who has provided advice and guidance to you at any stage of the application process. And you may have one representative only per application. Then you have some notes. You must use this form to appoint a paid or unpaid representative to conduct business with IRCC or CBSA on your behalf. You must also use this form to notify IRCC if your representative's contact information changes, or if you wish to cancel the appointment of your current representative and represent yourself, and if you wish to cancel the appointment of your current representative and appoint a new representative. Here I am appointing a representative, so I need to complete section A, B and D. I'll just click on this box. Now the section A, applicant information. The first point is your full name. So here I'll write my wife's name. She was the principal applicant, Gupta Ayushi. Date of birth, let's say 19960101. If you have already submitted your application, no. Type of application, no. And UCI, my wife did not have any UCI prior to this, so I'll just write NA. Now let's come to the section B, appointment of the representative. So it says that I authorize the following individual to serve as my representative and conduct business on my behalf with the IRCC and CBSA. I authorize IRCC and CBSA to release information from my case file and that of my dependent children under 18 years of age to my representative. And I am aware that any information which would be subject to exemption, if I had the right of access under the Privacy Act or the Access to Information Act, will likely not to be released. So the fifth point says your representative's full name. So if you are hiring a representative, then you can provide their name, but if not, then sponsor can act as a representative. So in my case, I was the sponsor and I acted as a representative. I'll just write my name. Now the sixth point is asking some information about your representative. So whether he is uncompensated, in this case yes, because the sponsor is acting as a representative, and I'll just click he is a friend or a family member, and the other options are not applicable, so just leave them blank as of now, and we will write NA in the end because you cannot type directly NA in these boxes. Now the second point is about that if your representative is being compensated, then provide all these information such as membership ID, province or territory and so on. But in my case, nothing is applicable because the spouse is acting as a representative and I cannot type anything here in these boxes. So I will write NA in the end. Next, you have the representative's contact information. So name of the firm or organization if applicable. But in my case NA because I don't have any firm or organization. Name of the supervising lawyer, again I'll write NA. So membership ID will be NA. The mailing address, so here I will provide my Canadian address because I'm the sponsor and acting as a representative. So apartment unit, I will write NA. Street number, let's say 1234 ABC Drive, Toronto. Ontario, Canada, and let's say A1A, 1A1. Telephone number, I'll say country code 1, and then let's say random telephone number. Yeah, fax number, nothing, so I'll write NA. And email address, so here I will provide my email address, which is like you have to provide sponsor's email address, and he is acting as a representative. So all your correspondence and updates will go to this email ID. Now the next point is about the representative's declaration, that I declare that information in section B is truthful, complete and correct. And here the representative, which means the sponsor, has to sign digitally and provide the date when he is signing the form. So I'll just write today's date, and I will sign this form digitally in the end. Next section is section C, to cancel the appointment of a representative, which is not applicable for us in this case. So I'll just write NA. But if you are filling out this form to cancel the appointment of a representative, then just fill this information. Now the section D, your declaration. Your declaration means the declaration from the applicant as well as from the sponsor. So it says that I declare that I have fully and truthfully answered all questions on this form and any attached application if applicable. I also declare that I have read and understood all the statements on this form, having asked and obtained an explanation for every point that was not clear to me. Here the applicant will sign digitally, and here the spouse, which means the sponsor, will sign. So I'll just write today's date, and we will do the digital signature in the end. So yeah, that's it. We are done with this form. So we will just save this secured PDF as a simple PDF and do the digital signature. Okay, so now I have opened a simple PDF, and first we will write NA wherever it's applicable. So you see on the 6th point, I'll just write NA. And then next I'll write NA here. It's an optional, but I just don't want to leave anything blank, so I'll write NA wherever applicable, wherever possible. Yeah, now only the signatures are left. So if you refer the instruction on your online portal, it says that you must download, complete, digitally sign and upload all the forms you need for your application, and do not print and scan any of these forms. So to do the digital signature, go to this option, sign yourself, add a signature, and now here you have 3 options. The first one is type, so you can just type your name. Then the second option is you can draw your signature, and the third option is you can even upload an image with your signature in it. So generally I would prefer option 2 or option 3, whichever is easy for you, you can do that. And I'll just save the signature and apply. And so here I can just paste my signature here digitally. And just scroll down in the section D. So you have 2 space for the signature. One is for the applicant and the other one is for the spouse. So here the sponsor has to sign. I'll just do the same process again here. So I'll just attach sponsor's signature here. And now we'll do the same thing for the principal applicant. And for that we will save this PDF and send it to a spouse who is the principal applicant, and ask him or her to do the same process, and he or she can do the digital signature by following the same step what you did. So go to this sign yourself option. I already have this principal applicant signature, just paste it here, and yeah, you are done. So this is how you can do your signatures digitally in IMM 5476 use of representative form. So save this PDF, and this is the PDF which you will be uploading into your online portal account. So come back to your online portal account, just click on upload button, and go to the form which you recently saved with your all signatures in it, and just click on OK, and your form has been successfully uploaded. Okay, so the purpose of this video is only to guide you on how you can fill out this form on your own, but if you still have any questions, please write in the comment section below and I will reply to you. This is the 8th video of the series where I am filling all the forms which are required to sponsor a spouse or partner to Canada. So I have logged into my IRCC portal account, and if you're new, then please watch my previous videos to understand how to create this online account and what are the forms you need to fill for your application. In this video, we will talk about the document checklist, which is the IMM 5533. And this checklist is not only for your reference, but also for the visa officers who is looking into your application. So this is not an optional document. You have to complete it and upload it in your online portal account. So let's download this form from the given link, and I will open this form using the Adobe PDF Reader. So I have opened the document checklist from the Adobe PDF Reader. It's a long 10-page document checklist, so please follow along to avoid any mistakes. It says that as you go through the steps, click on the check box for each applicable item, and then you have some important notes that if you cannot provide one or more documents required by the checklist, you must provide a detailed written explanation for each missing document. You must also provide any other evidence or documents you have available to satisfy the requirement. And it also says that when submitting an online application, you will need to upload this form and other required documents with your application. The principal applicant is responsible for completing the forms on behalf of their dependents who are 18 years of age and older. And obviously you will scan your documents and make a PDF and upload into the online portal account. And if your documents are not in English or French, then you must provide a certified translation with a certified copy of the original documents. And do not submit any originals, because if you are submitting your originals, it will not be returned. Next we have is the information about the previous examinations, and it has to be filled by the sponsor. So this point is for those who applied for Canadian PR through the different programs like Express Entry and were asked to declare the details of their spouse. So if your spouse was already examined as non-accompanying dependent, click yes, otherwise click no. So I was unmarried during that time, so I clicked no. But if you were married and declare a spouse as a non-accompanying partner, then click yes. Moving on, next we have Part A, forms required. So this document actually has two parts. Part A is for the forms and Part B is for the documents or the proofs which you are going to upload in your online account. So first we have the document checklist for the sponsor and the principal applicant, which is the same form which you are seeing right now. So yeah, you have to click here because this is the IMM 5533 form which you must submit along with your application. Now you have the forms which are required to be submitted by the sponsors. So the first you have is IMM 1344, which we have already filled and uploaded into the online portal account. So I'll just click here. Next we have the point for the application fees. Since you will be submitting your application fees and uploading the receipt, so click here. And if you are also paying for the right of permanent residence fees, then click here. I would suggest you to pay this right of permanent residence fees at the same time to avoid any delays. Next is financial evaluation, IMM 1283. So this is when you have any dependent child who has one or more dependent child of their own. But it wasn't case here. I will not check this box, and I will write NA in the end. Now we have the forms for the sponsored person, that is the principal applicant, and the family members. Next we have is the class of application, that is the inland application or outland application. So in my case it was the outland application because I was in Canada and my wife was in India. So I checked this box that I am currently, because my wife, she's saying that I am currently living outside Canada and I am applying under the family class. But if the applicant is living inside Canada and want to do the inland application, then they can click here. But if the spouse, that is the principal applicant, is living inside the Canada and they still want to do the outland application, which is the under the family class, then they can check on this box, and I will also check here. Now the next point is for the generic application form for Canada, which is IMM 0008. We have already filled this form, so I'll just check on this box. Moving on to the next point, which is the country specific requirements. So you, the principal applicant, must check the country specific requirements to confirm if there are any additional forms which are required based on your country of residence. So my wife is from India, and only country specific requirement was to fill the travel information form, which is IMM 5562. We have filled that form and have uploaded it into the online portal account. So I will fill all those details in these lines. So first of all, I will check on this box because we do have the country specific requirement for India and I am filling that form. And here I will write the complete name of the form, which is IMM 5562 Supplementary Information Your Travel. And remaining 3 lines I did not want to leave blank. So this is how I filled when I was filling this form. So I will write NA for the remaining lines, but if you have more country specific requirements, then just write those form names here. Now next we have the additional family information, which is IMM 5406. We have completed this form, so I will check this box. Next we have the Schedule A background and declaration, which is IMM 5669. We have completed this form as well, so I will check this box. Now we have the forms which were needed to be filled by both sponsor and the principal applicant. So the first one we have here is the relationship information and sponsorship evaluation, IMM 5532. We have completed this form as well, so I will check this box. Remember that sponsor must sign the Part A Section 9 and Part C Section 12. Similarly, the principal applicant must sign the Part B Section 5 and Part C Section 13. Otherwise, your application will be returned. Next, we have the use of representative, IMM 5476. So we have already talked about this form in one of the previous videos. So this one is also completed. I will check this box. And here I will check this box because it says that I am appointing a representative. I, the sponsor, acted as a representative in my application. The next point is the authority to release personal information to a designated individual, IMM 5475. So this was not applicable in my case, so I'll just say not applicable, and I will check all these both the boxes. So we have completed the Part A. Now we are moving on the Part B, which is the supporting documents. Now there are few reminders. The first one is about the documents. So all the documents and the proofs must be either in English or French. If they are not in English or French, then provide a certified translation copy. The second point is about the documents which you are submitting must be in the PDF. So basically you will scan your proofs and the documents, make a PDF and upload it into the online portal account. And third one is about the country specific requirements. So make sure you are checking your country specific requirements and filling all the required forms which are specific to your country. Now, starting with the supporting documents for the sponsors, first one we have status in Canada. So I will check this box, and I will check this box because I am a permanent resident of Canada. And if you are checking this box, you have to provide a photocopy, or I mean the scanned copy of your PR card, both sides. If you don't have the PR card, then you must provide your COPR letter, and if your card is expired, then you must submit the copy of your expired PR card. And if you are a Canadian citizen, then check this box and provide any one of the following, like your Canadian citizenship certificate, birth certificate, or your passport. Next point we have here is, are you the sponsor a Canadian citizen living outside Canada? I'll say no, and I will also check this box. But if it is yes, then you must tell IRCC that when you are coming back to Canada and what are your plans once this PR application has been approved. Now the third point is about, do you, the sponsor, and the person you are sponsoring, that is the principal applicant, have a child or children together who may have the claim to Canadian citizenship? I'll say no because I am the permanent resident, and I will also check this box. This is generally for those who are Canadian citizen and sponsoring their spouse. So if you are a Canadian citizen and have a child or children together, then click yes and also click on this box. Then you have to provide the required documents for your each child or children, like Canadian birth certificate showing the names of both parents, Canadian passport, Canadian certificate, or proof of application for a proof of citizenship. So now moving on to the next point, which is about the previous relationship. So first of all, I will check this box. And the first point is about, are you, the sponsor, currently married to anyone other than the person you are sponsoring? I'll say no. Have you, the sponsor, previously been sponsored yourself for permanent residence? So it means that if someone sponsored the current sponsor in the past, so I'll say no. And now next question is, have you, the sponsor, ever been previously married? No. And have you, the sponsor, ever previously been in common law relationship? I'll say no. So none of them is applicable. I have clicked no for all the questions, and I have also checked this box. Moving on to the next point, which is about the employment or the source of income. So first I will check this box, and there are two sections: if you're working in Canada and if you are not working in Canada. So I was working in Canada when I was applying for this PR application, so I checked this box. So if you're working in Canada, then provide an original letter from your current employer, that is the employment verification letter, and your pay slips, and also do not forget to provide the notice of assessment. And if you are self-employed, then provide the notice of assessment and also provide the proof of income statement. Just fulfill all these requirements. And if in case you cannot provide your notice of assessment or a proof of income statement, then you have to write the explanation on a separate sheet and accompanied by relevant supporting financial documents to show that how you can support the principal applicant. And if you are not working in Canada, then check this box, and again you have to provide the document showing that you can support the person you are sponsoring, which means you have all the financial means to support the principal applicant. Now we have the checklist for the supporting documents for the sponsored person, that is the principal applicant and all the family members included in this application. The first point we have here is identity documents, so I'll check here, and in most cases it will be your passport, so I'll check this box. And if you, the principal applicant, are living in Canada, then provide the proof of your status in Canada, that is your temporary resident visa, study permit, work permit, and so on. The next point is birth certificate, so you have to, the principal applicant have to provide the birth certificate as well. And then third box is about the country specific requirements. So from India, neither of these applies to me, so I will check this box, and I will also check this box, because for India the only country specific requirement is to provide your travel documents or travel history. The next point is about the civil status documents, so I will check this box, and here we have 2 points: the current relationship and the previous relationship. So in the current relationship, the first point is if you, the principal applicant, are legally married to a sponsor, provide your marriage certificate or other proof that your marriage is legally registered with the government authorities. So we have provided the marriage certificate here, so I will check this box as well. And the next point is about the previous relationship, so none of these are applicable, so I will check this box. And moving on to the next point, which is additional information about the children. So first I will check this box, and since we do not have any children, so I will write an A next to each boxes in the end. Next point we have here is about the police certificate and clearance. So I will check this box, and I will also check this box because we are providing the police clearance certificate. And it says any country other than Canada in which you spent 6 or more months in a row since the age of 18. So since my wife is from India, so we provided the police clearance certificate from India, and I will write the country name here. But if you have lived in Canada for last 6 months, or Canada is a country where you have lived for most of your life since the age of 18, then police clearance certificate is not required at this time. IRCC will make a request for this on your behalf. So this is not applicable, I will just skip. Next we have is the military services. So this is again not applicable, so I will click on this no. And moving on to the next point, which is about the photographs. So I will check this box, and it says that when applying online, upload the front and back of the photograph to your application, and you can always check the photo specification from this link. Next you have the point for the medical examination. So just leave this blank. Also do not write NA because IRCC will send you the instruction for the medical exam at the later stage. Now next is about the proof of relationship to your sponsor. So check this box, and it says that you must provide the evidence that the relationship between you and the sponsor is genuine. And here are some questions like are you and your spouse currently living together? So I will say no because I was in Canada and my wife, she was in India. And if you are saying no, then you have to provide both these documents. The first one is proof of contact, and the second one is the proof of your sponsor's visit. So we provided both the proofs, so I will check on these both boxes. Well, proof of contact means the letters, text messages, emails, or social media chats like Facebook or WhatsApp. And we already have a video on this topic, so you can check out that as well on our channel. The second one is proof of your sponsor's visit, such as your airline tickets, boarding passes, passport stamps, and so on. So, but if your sponsor did not visit you, make sure you provide an explanation in the form IMM 5532 under the section part C, question 4. So you can check out my video on IMM 5532 where I have talked about this point as well. But if you are currently living together, then click yes and provide at least 2 of the following documents, such as your proof of joint ownership, rental agreement, utility account bills such as electricity, gas, telephone or internet bills, vehicle insurance, or let's say driving license, or maybe your cell phone bills, pay stubs, tax forms, or bank or credit card statements. And if you are not able to provide any 2 of these documents, then check this box and provide the detailed explanation that why you are not able to provide any 2 of these documents. But none of this was applicable for me, so I will leave everything blank and I will move on to the next question. The next question is about, do you and your spouse have any children together? I'll say no. Is this the first marriage for both you and your sponsor? I'll say yes. Have you and your sponsor been married for a minimum of 2 years as of the date of application? I'll say no because we were just married and started up having this application ready. Now the next note is check here if you have answered yes to all 4 questions above. But no, we did not answer yes to all 4 questions, so we will just leave it blank. And if you did not answer yes to all 4 questions, then also provide the followings. So I did not answer yes to all 4 questions above, so I have to provide the required documents. So I will check both the boxes and see what are the required documents here. The first point here is about your photographs of your wedding, customary celebrations, engagement, or any outings which you have had. You need to provide a maximum of 20 photographs to support your relationship, and please upload a separate document providing a brief description of context of each photos provided and label your photos accordingly. We already have a video on this topic, so you can check out that as well and see how to provide the photographs to prove your relationship. We provided 80 photographs with the detailed description on 20 pages, and it went through without any issues. Please remember that you need to upload a separate document for the context and at least two of the following. So let's see. So after getting married, I added my wife on the insurance policy provided by my employer. So I have this document. So I checked this box. And second one is documentary evidence of the financial support between you and your sponsor. So we did not have this because we were just married. Other proofs that your relationship is recognized by your family or friends, which means the letters written by your family or friends, or any messages on social media accounts. So we have that. We already have the video as well on our channel. You can check that as well. And proof of past cohabitation, since we stayed together for few months after marriage, so we prepared the proof of past cohabitation, and we have the video for this as well. So we provided these three documents here in this section. And if you're not able to provide any two of these documents, so you need to check this box and write a detailed description to IRCC that why you are not able to provide these two documents. So now we are on the last section, which is about the signatures. This section is very important because it tells you where in your forms you both need to sign, and which is very important because if you miss any signature, your application will be returned by IRCC. And important reminder, it says that double check that you provided all the required signatures on the following forms. So here we have all the list of forms, and we'll see that where we need to sign the IMM forms. First, we have IMM 1344, which needs to be signed by sponsor as well as the principal applicant. Then we have IMM 0008, which needs to be signed by the principal applicant. Then we have IMM 5532, which needs to be signed by both sponsor and the principal applicant 2 times. For this, so the sponsor will sign on page 3, question number 9, and page 8, question number 12, and the principal applicant will sign on page 4, question 5, page 8, question 13. So next, fourth point is about the additional family information, IMM 5406. So the principal applicant will sign it, and if you have any family members in your application, then you need to check here. But in my case, it was just the principal applicant, my wife, so I will only check this box. Next we have is Schedule A, background and declaration, IMM 5669. So the principal applicant will sign it here. So I'll check this box, and if you have any family members, you need to check here as well. Use of representative, so it will be signed by each person's 18 years of age or older who is appointing a representative. So it was signed by sponsor and principal applicant and the representative who was the sponsor in my case. Now the last point is for the authority to release personal information to a designated individual, IMM 5475. It is not applicable, so I will check this box. So we have completed this form, and please double check all the informations which you have filled. You should not miss any check box which are required. And once you are done, you need to save this PDF file as a simple PDF, and we will write NA for some of the boxes. Just click on this print form button and save this document as a PDF. So I have opened this document checklist again just to review, and I'll see where all I need to write NA. So this one we have already checked. The part A, document checklist, done. Sponsor IMM 1344, it's done. Application fees, we have checked both the boxes. And financial evaluation, so we have not clicked here. So this is not applicable in my case, so I will write NA. And next we have the forms by the principal applicant. So class of application is family class, the outland application, IMM 0008. We have checked this box. Country specific requirements, we have given the name and we have written the NA already here. The additional family information, we have checked this box. IMM 5669, this is done. Now forms by the both sponsor and the principal applicant. So we have checked this box for IMM 5532. Use of representative is checked, and we are appointing a representative, so that's fine. Authority to release personal information not applicable, so we have checked these boxes. Now part B, supporting documents. The first one is status in Canada, so yeah, we have checked this box. I'm a permanent resident in Canada. And then second one is, are you the Canadian citizen? Yes, we have checked this box. And the claim of the citizenship for the children, we have checked this box and we have said no. Now previous relationship, so we have checked this box. This is also done, employment and source of income. Now the supporting documents for the principal applicant, so this is also done. We have provided the passport and checked both the boxes. Birth certificate and the country specific requirement, neither of these applies, so we have checked these boxes. Civil status documents, so we have checked this box and we have checked this box and provided the marriage certificate. And previous relationship, none of these are applicable, so we have checked this box. Additional information about children, so it says that write NA to next to each boxes, which does not apply to you, so none of them are applicable, so I will write NA next to each boxes. I'll write NA here, I'll write NA here as well, and I will write NA here as well. So this is how I did for my application. I did not check any boxes because none of these were applicable, and I wrote NA next to all these boxes. Police clearance certificate, so this is done. We have checked all the required boxes here. Military services, we have said no, we can write NA, so I did write NA for my application, so it's fine. And photos, we have checked. We will not write anything for the medical examinations because you will get the instruction at the later stage, so I will leave this blank. And proof of relationship, this is also done. We have checked this box, we have checked all these boxes, and we have checked all the required boxes here, so I think we are good now. Last page about the signature, so we have checked all the required boxes as well, so we have written NA wherever is applicable. I will just save this document again and will upload this on the online portal account. Now I have logged into my online portal account, and this is where I need to upload my form IMM 5533, and I will click on this upload button, and this is the form which you just saved and wrote NA for all those boxes which are not applicable. So this is the latest version of the form. Click here and click on open. So this form is being uploaded, and now you have successfully uploaded this document IMM 5533. So that's it in this video, and we have successfully completed the 8th form from this application, and we now have filled all the common forms required to sponsor spouse or common law partner to Canada. And I will post some more videos on similar topics, so stay tuned, like, share and subscribe to this video, and thank you so much.